Do console gamers need
Need.
VR? Like, need is a good
Need. The
word,
word
right?
need.
Yeah.
Well, have you guys ever had tearing or stuttering that you
Yeah.
think VRR would fix?
The only time that I have seen it be like really, really helpful is that new Pirate's Life update for Sea of Thieves. Like the base game has been fine, but that
Uh-huh.
update has horrible performance. Everyone that plays it sees massive amounts of screen tearing.
Ah,
Like literally, you just load into that expansion, you
okay.
just start moving around, you see screen tearing everywhere. And that is like the first time where the VRR has really helped, and that's because there's just um, massive frame drops. So
Mhm.
even with the VRR, the frame rate drops so much, you can still kind of tell a little bit because it's going from 120 down to like 70.
I think console gamers will eventually want VR. I'm not saying they need
Mhm.
it right now, but as games get more advanced and we start to see more 120 hertz games that are
Mhm.
unlocked, then maybe yes. But it's definitely more of a PC gamer thing because like you have unlocked frame rates and it's
Right.
all over the place. And
Mhm.
like Classy was saying, like I can get Sea of Thieves to kind of tear on demand. If I want to go to and test, I'll make sure VRR is working right. I'll throw on VRR and go to that and see if it tears. And if it doesn't tear, I'll know VRR works. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like my VRR test is the Sea of Thieves.
Yep. And then on the flip side of that, if you have LG OLED and you have VRR on and you play that specific expansion, it's really dark, and then you just see the flickering and flashing just all over the place.
Yep.
Okay. Olympics is here, and it may
Yep.
be too late for some people. Olympic watching TVs. People are upgrading for the Olympics. They don't want to spend too much. What are your suggestions and considerations for buying a new TV to watch the Olympics? And your TV is over 10 years old. So this is a great time to buy a new TV. What are your thoughts? So, I mean, I'm just thinking aloud. I'm thinking SDR, motion.
So I would just group that in with my typical sports
Yeah.
recommendations,
Mm-hmm.
which is you want a clean panel, wide viewing angles, very bright SDR, and right now, if you can still get the 950H, it's probably the best deal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
Absolutely.
thinking too.
Very good response. Yeah, I like that. I saw some of the comparisons, from the China review of the X95J. I'm telling you that 950H, you
Mhm.
take out the lifted blacks, and not every scene will show it. Man, that thing is as good as the X95J.
Mhm.
Maybe the brightness is a little here and there, right? But overall, that's a solid TV. So yeah, I think for most people upgrading from a 10-year-old TV, the 950H is going to look great. And Dolby Vision looks great across the board too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Between a 77 A80J and a 75-inch QN90A, which has better motion, crisp picture, and depth? And is the QN90A OLED-ish enough? And I want the best picture possible.
I think even though I don't have either, I have the A90J and the Q90, but 65-inch versions, right?
Right.
But if the A80J is so close to A90J and at the 77-inch is probably even that much closer,
Hmm.
I prefer the A90J most of the time, but I always watch in the dark. The
Right.
Q98 does come very close. I have to give them that. 90% of the scenes, but if you're asking for the best picture possible, well, it's the A90J.
Mhm.
But then what is their use case, right? I mean, if he's gaming, then
Right.
I'd go with the Q98 because at least it's got one working 2.1 point with VRR. So it's really hard to say, I'm sitting in the dark. This is my dedicated cinema TV. It's a A80J. But for mixed use, I'm fine with the 75-inch Q98. As a matter of fact, if it was my parents or my friends or whatever, and I know they have mixed use, I'd recommend the 75-inch Q98.
Yeah, man, like I loved both TVs. Like I really love both TVs. And better motion, I feel like the motion is pretty equal. I like both
Yeah.
motion on the
Yes.
TVs.
Agreed.
As far as depth goes, like I feel like the A80J was probably the best depth that I've seen in picture
Yeah.
quality. And that even goes further than the A90J sometimes. Like I don't know
Mhm.
what it was, but the A80J just kind of felt like it had more depth to it at times. As far as the crisp picture goes, I don't think you get a crisper picture than Sony.
For me, like KG was saying, the motion's pretty much a wash.
Mhm.
Crisp picture, even if it wasn't the A80J or a Sony, if it was an LG OLED, just OLED in general is sharper than LCD.
Mhm.
Depth is definitely OLED because of the higher contrast. See, it's like I do like the QN90A, but you cannot turn off dynamic tone mapping, so it will not be accurate. Period. Like in HDR, it's
Yeah,
going to lift those midtones,
it is.
and
Yeah, yeah.
if you like that, go right ahead. I don't. I mean, sure, it looks good, but it's not accurate. And if that's what someone wants, then you can't get it. Whereas with the Sony or an LG or whatever, you can mess around with that stuff. You can turn dynamic tone mapping on and off. You can go for accuracy, or brighten the midtones and get the extra punch, whatever.
Yeah.
The Samsung just gives that extra average picture level brightness that OLED can't reach. And when it comes down to really fine HDR highlights, the QN90A, just like all LCDs, they lose brightness as the object gets smaller and smaller.
Yes.
So when
Yeah,
you have really, really small stuff, OLED's going to be brighter on those really small objects.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One thing I noticed that Samsung started doing with their algorithm is when it is a bright object on a dark background, they really try. They try their hardest to eliminate blooming. So when they do that, you definitely lose some details. And it's kind of sad because it wasn't always like this. They used to have really like good highlights, and they started to change their algorithm a little bit
it's
so
the
that they
blooming.
see less blooming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It's like
definitely the blooming.
ABL for blooming almost in a way for what they do. How much does local dimming affect input lag? I don't think it does. It might to a processing sense of like why they don't put so much local dimming into it, but on a level where that you can control, like high, medium, low, it doesn't affect it at all. You know, but it might have some effect to why they're not adding more processing to it. But
Yeah, it's like with the Samsung, like I was saying, the local dimming doesn't work as well in game mode because they're trying to reduce the input lag.
yeah.
So how much? Well, you can't. There's no way to know because Samsung has it how they have it.
Right. They made it so that you can adjust your local dimming to a degree and have no input lag effect at all. So there is no way to affect the input lag currently with the way the local dimming is set up, if that's what you were asking. What are your thoughts on the 5-year Geek Squad warranty from Best Buy for the A80J? I really like that TV, and I'm torn if the warranty is with or not. The warranty is $749 for the 77. That's a pretty expensive warranty. But I mean, like, if it's gonna give you peace of mind, maybe consider it, because like they do come out and they'll take it off your TV, off of the wall for you if it's wall mounted. They do like take care of you, but the chances of you really having issues with that TV, that's pretty low. I think Sony makes really good TVs, as does LG, and I think like when it comes to LG OLED or Sony OLED, like you're probably good without a warranty, honestly.
We know LG extended the warranty on the G1 to 5 years, covering burn-in because they're so confident in that new panel type.
Right.
And the A80J has that same panel. That TV with warranty is about the same as the G1. So
That's
then
true.
it's more of an apples to apples comparison. And if you ever do have a problem, Best Buy will just give you your original purchase price back onto a gift card that you can then apply to your next TV.
Leave your comments in the comment section if you guys have any ideas for us for a video. Want to see something? We have like a bunch of footage of all the TVs we already checked out. So if you want to see more of something, let us know. And thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully see you in the next one. Take care, guys.
All right. See ya.